In the middle of the Blue Mountains, there was a town named Sonor, where everything was loud. People did not talk. They shouted. The clocks did not tick. They banged. The birds did not sing. They screamed. For the people of Sonor, sound was power. If you had a loud voice, you were important. If you spoke words quickly, you were smart. In this town lived a young woman named Maya. Maya was 20 years old. She was different from everyone else. Maya had a normal voice, but she preferred to listen. When Maya walked through the streets, the noise hurt her ears. More speed, more production, and more words. Shouted the mayor from his big balcony every morning, and the people cheered with loud drums. Maya lived with her grandfather, Leo, who was an old watchmaker with slow hands and kind eyes. One evening, while drinking hot tea, Maya asked her grandfather why everyone was running, shouting, and never listening. Leo smiled sadly and told her that when people make too much noise outside, it is usually because they are afraid of the silence inside, thinking that if they stop talking, they will disappear. But Maya whispered that she wanted to find the silence, believing it had its own voice. The next day, something terrible happened in Sonor. The great clock of the valley, the machine that controlled the rhythm of the entire town, stopped. It did not stop with a bang. It stopped with an absolute, freezing silence. When the great clock stopped, the people of Sonor froze. Nobody knew what to do, because for the first time in 100 years, there was no sound. The mayor tried to shout, but no words came out of his mouth because his voice depended on the rhythm of the clock. The merchants tried to sell their products, but their voices felt heavy. The silence was like a thick blanket over the town, and people became afraid. They looked at each other with wide eyes, treating silence like a monster, a vacuum that wanted to eat their identities. Men wrote on pieces of paper that they were broken, and women cried without sound that the world was ending. Maya, however, felt a strange peace. For the first time, she could hear the wind moving through the leaves of the old oak trees. She could hear the water of the river hitting the stones. She could hear the beating of her own heart, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, in a perfect, beautiful rhythm. She went to her grandfather's workshop, where Leo was looking at a very old map. He wrote on a notepad that the great clock was not broken because of a mechanical problem, but because its heart was tired of noise. He explained there was a place at the top of the crystal mountain where the silent stone lived. If someone could bring the silent stone to the clock, it would find its balance again. The journey was dangerous. The mountain was steep, and the silence there was absolute. Maya took her backpack, looked at her grandfather, and nodded. She did not need words to say goodbye because her eyes expressed everything: determination, love, and courage. Maya started her long and lonely walk toward the Crystal Mountain. On the first day, she felt the weight of her own thoughts. When there is no external noise, the internal noise becomes very loud. And she started to remember her failures, her fears, and her insecurities. She wondered if she was strong enough, being just a quiet girl from a small town. The mountain was cold, the air became thin, and every step required effort. But Maya discovered something interesting. When she stopped thinking about her fears, she started to notice the details of nature. She saw a small blue flower growing between two cold rocks. The flower did not shout to be beautiful. It was just beautiful, in total silence. She smiled at the flower, thinking that nobody needs a microphone to exist. On the third day of her journey, Maya met a companion. It was a white wolf with deep silver eyes. The wolf did not growl or show its teeth. It just stood on the path, looking at her. At first, Maya was terrified because the books of Sonor described wolves as loud, aggressive monsters. But this wolf was calm. Maya sat on a rock and did not move or scream. She just looked into the silver eyes of the animal, and a profound connection formed between them. It was a conversation without a single word. The wolf walked toward her, gently touched her hand with its nose, turned around, and started walking up the mountain to guide her. The wolf led Maya to the entrance of a massive, dark cave. Above the entrance, there was an inscription in an ancient language that her grandfather had taught her, which said that to find the truth, you must face your own reflections. Maya entered the Cave of Echoes, while the wolf stayed outside, sitting like a loyal guardian. Inside, the cave was dark and damp, and suddenly Maya heard a sound. It was not a real voice, but an echo. The voices shouted that she was weak, that she was going to fail, and that nobody in Sonor loved her because she was quiet. The voices sounded like the angry citizens of Sonor, loud, aggressive, and fast. Maya covered her ears with her hands as the echoes became louder, repeating her deepest fears over and over. Maya fell to her knees because the noise inside her head was unbearable, making her want to run away and scream. But then she remembered her grandfather's words about people being afraid of the silence inside. Maya took a deep breath, closed her eyes, and took her hands away from her ears. She decided to stop fighting the echoes and accept them. She spoke in a soft, calm voice, admitting that sometimes she felt weak and afraid of failing, but that those fears were a part of her and did not define her. When Maya accepted her fears with a quiet heart, a miracle happened. The echoes lost their power, becoming softer and softer until they disappeared completely, leaving the cave perfectly silent. In the center of the cave, a soft blue light illuminated a small, beautiful stone. It was the silent stone, looking like a piece of solid starlight. Maya walked to it, picked it up, and felt a warm, peaceful energy flowing into her hands. The journey back to Sonor was faster, and the white wolf accompanied Maya to the borders of the forest before disappearing into the trees with a soft look of farewell. When Maya arrived in Sonor, the town was unrecognizable. The people were sitting on the ground, exhausted, sad, and disconnected. Without their loud words, they did not know how to interact. Moving like ghosts, Maya walked to the center of the square where the great clock stood, and the mayor looked at her with tired eyes. She climbed the iron stairs of the clock tower and opened the mechanical heart of the machine, where the gears were rigid, frozen by the tension of a century of shouting. Gently, Maya placed the silent stone in the center of the main gear. For a moment, nothing happened, but then a pulse of blue light expanded from the stone, touching every gear, every spring, and every screw. The clock did not start with a loud bang. It started with a soft, musical tic-tac, like a peaceful heartbeat. The blue light extended through the entire town, and when it touched the people, their expressions changed. Their faces relaxed, their shoulders dropped, and the anxiety left their bodies. The mayor stood up, walked to Maya as she came down from the tower, and realized he did not need to write on paper. He could speak, but his voice was now soft, warm, and full of genuine emotion, making it the most beautiful sound he had ever made when he thanked her. Maya smiled and told him he was welcome. Years passed, and Sonor became a different place, no longer known as the town of loud words, but as the valley of the symphony. The people still talked, laughed, and celebrated, but they did it with balance, learning that words are like precious stones that lose their value if you throw too many of them. The schools now had a new class called the Art of Listening, where children sat in the forest for 1 hour every week, learning to hear the secrets of nature and the feelings of their friends. Maya became the new guardian of the clock and lived a long, happy life. She never became the loudest person in the room, but her presence was felt by everyone. People from different countries traveled to the Valley of the Symphony just to learn the great lesson that Maya discovered on the Crystal Mountain. True strength does not need to shout. True wisdom is born in the quiet spaces of the heart. And sometimes the most powerful message in the world is a beautiful, respectful silence.